All right, so this video here is going to be talking about upsell offers. And again, this is the continuation of $100 million money model, seeing if this actually works for cleaning companies and home service companies in general. As I was going through this section, I was like, dude, I got to hit up one of the smartest dudes I know in this business, Ryan Knoll. I've known Ryan for multiple years. He has a kick-ass YouTube channel, an absolute genius when it comes to this industry. Ryan, can you give a quick background on yourself?
Yeah, so I own Tidy Casa, which is a home cleaning business. We do 100% residential through independent contractors. Been doing that for like 10 years, doing about $2 million a year. And before that, I did search engine optimization. So on my YouTube channel, I talk a lot about SEO and marketing stuff.
And for those of you watching who don't know who I am, my name is Neil. I run Made This franchise now. I started my business at the same time as Ryan 10 plus years ago. My business is in Los Angeles, and now we're franchising it out. So we have Made This locations across the US. And both of us are just nerds who geek out on marketing, trying to crack this kind of stuff, still running our own locations. And what we'll do here is just kind of riff. We'll explain exactly what the upsells are in Hormozi's book. On top of that, we'll actually talk about how we might apply this in our own business. We'll debate whether this would work or not. So that's what this section is about. So Ryan, why don't we get kicked off? Can you explain the concept of an upsell? What does this even mean?
Sure. Okay, let's go even more basic. Yeah, I always want to go like way into the weeds. So an upsell is basically, do you want fries with that, right? It's the classic thing that, every business owner just hates doing these or talking about these, but it is literally essential to increasing the lifetime value of a customer. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, when it comes to the cleaning industry, it's us giving them what they're asking for that they don't know that they need. Mm-hmm. I did business coaching for many, many years, and this was just one of the classic things that people just felt like it was evil or bad or wrong to upsell the people. But we would see not only higher lifetime value for clients, higher average ticket costs with upsells, but happier clients. And we reduced a lot of complaints by actually upselling. So, the upsell, do you want fries with that? That was a question. What is it? It's just asking clients if there's other things that you can do for them.
Yep.
That's the upsell. If you go to McDonald's, do you want fries with that? It's the classic upsell.
Yeah. I'd say it's even more relevant on the tactical level for what we're experiencing today, which is when ad costs go up, so it costs more money to get a phone call from a client, you need to make sure how much you're selling them is the max possible for what they actually want, right? So if your normal average ticket's $150, but with your upsells, you could get it to $250. This now makes it a little bit more better, I guess, for how much you're paying for these increased ad costs. And again, the bigger ticket you have, the more money you have to make things awesome for your client, the more money you have to invest in marketing, the more money you have to pay your team. So I think upsells in general as a concept for our industry is very powerful. Now, Hormozi dives into 4 main ones he likes. Ryan and I are going to break these down and see if we even like these, if they could even apply for the cleaning industry or not, and maybe even talk about how we might do it. So the 4 main ones, number 1 is called a classic upsell. The next one's called a menu upsell. The one after that's called an anchor upsell. And the last one's called a rollover upsell. We're going to break these down into different parts to start with the first one, which is the classic upsell. Classic upsell, and Ryan, maybe I'll take this one just to explain what this one is. This is pretty standard, which is what Ryan explained. Do you want fries with that? Typically, when someone buys something from you, another problem comes that's something they need to buy, and that would be the normal upsell. Very basic. An example would be like, if you buy a bicycle, hey, dude, you bought a bicycle. You probably need a helmet with that. That's an upsell.
Right.
If you are going to a car wash and you get your car washed, hey, do you need the sealant? Because now that you got your car washed, you can't let it get hit by the rain. You need sealant on it. That's an upsell. There's a bunch of different ways of having upsells for any given industry. That's essentially what it is. I feel like the classic upsell is extremely simple to explain, and maybe I'm missing parts of it. Ryan, is there anything you want to clarify for the classic upsell?
No, it's exactly like you said. You can't have X without Y. So gym membership, supplements. You're getting your house cleaned. Do you want your baseboards cleaned? Right.
So let's talk about this, because I was trying to find out what are we upselling. So Ryan, someone calls you for a cleaning job. And by the way, how do you price at the beginning? Do you price hourly, flat rate for a deep cleaning? What is your normal offer?
We always do flat rate. And I would encourage everybody to do flat rate. Anytime you're selling anything by the hour, it just really changes the dynamic. So there's a couple instances where we do hourly, like really, really big homes just maybe don't need every room cleaned because they just don't get dirty like a smaller home would. But for the most part, we do everything flat rate by the size of the house. That makes the pricing easier. We can just do it over the phone, which helps us close more deals because we don't have the friction of trying to schedule a time to go out and look. Yeah, we do everything flat rate. So the way that we do this, we don't do it the classic way. We probably do a little bit more of, sort of that next one, the menu upsell, which is, what do you need? You need your house cleaned. Okay, what else do you need here? This is also called more of a prescriptive upsell. So maybe talking to them about what their goals are. I'm moving out of my house. We need to get our renter's deposit back. Okay, did they give you a list of things you need clean? They almost always give them a list. Okay, what's on that list? Okay, we got boom, 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 boom. They're going to list those things off for you. If they don't have the list, then we give them the list. Okay, you're probably going to want your baseboards. You're going to want your blinds. You're going to want your whatever. We got a special package for that. Here's that package. Right.
Do you offer any, do you want price for that type of thing? So let's say someone's calling for a basic 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, initial cleaning. I'll think about monthly later. I want a cleaning. You quote them $250 for the first cleaning. Are you doing any upsells at the moment? Or do you think anything would work as an upsell? And I have a few ideas to run by you, but I'm curious if you guys are currently doing any classic upsells.
Yeah, I mean, we're really kind of combining a lot of these, sort of the classic, the menu, and the anchor. I really, really like. Then we've also got the rollover. Rollover has just been hard with our pricing. Because basically what a rollover is you take a big chunky price and you roll it over into ongoing commitments. So pay us $10,000. We'll keep your house clean for an entire year. Maybe there's a guarantee that goes with that, stuff like that. I think the only software that could probably do it would be Made Central because it syncs up with QuickBooks and you can just bank whatever that customer spent as a credit. The other softwares that I've used don't necessarily have that ability, so it can be really challenging just to keep track of. I guess we should probably go over what all of these are since I keep diving into them.
Yeah, I mean, there's the other ones. I'll give you my opinion on classic upsells. I think for our industry, I'm the only upsells I had as an ideas would be like maybe someone says you could say, hey, do you want eco-friendly products? $20 extra. That's technically an upsell, right?
Right.
You could upsell, hey, you want the base level of stuff. Do you want fridge cleaning? That's an upsell that you could also offer on there. I found it's a little bit hard. You could also upsell guarantees if you really want. Like that's one thing Hormozi recommends is upsell guarantees, warranties and stuff. Let me give you my opinion on this. I think upselling warranties, insurance guarantees, I think it's silly. Like if a cleaning company came to me and was like, oh, do you want insurance on top of it? I'd be like, well, aren't you freaking liable for this? Like why should I be paying extra for it? So I don't love that recommendation. Upselling like eco-friendly products, I think people would buy it. I think it's more of a matter of, is the juice worth the squeeze with something like that? If you have employees who have all these eco-friendly products already and it's literally an easy upsell, I think it's a no-brainer. I think you could easily charge $20 extra to have eco-friendly products. They swap out vinegar for what they're doing with the bleach and they call it a day. I think it's easy margin there. If it's how much more people are going to pay, I don't really know, but you'd have to make your decision on whether that extra margin of $20 is worth the hassle or maybe it's not a hassle, So I think that's an easy upsell.
Yeah, well, yeah. So with that classic upsell, we do a lot. So hourly doesn't really allow for upsells.
Yeah,
I don't think.
It doesn't.
I like the flat rate because that allows for these upsells. When it comes to things like guarantee as an upsell, I feel like service-based businesses win on three things. Which is speed, risk, and ease. Can we make it easy for you? Can we lower the risk? And can we do it fast? So the risk is the guarantee. So we can eliminate risk by saying, hey, we've got this 100% guarantee where we will give you your money back if you're not happy within 5 days, whatever. We want to de-risk it. We don't want to upsell the de-risk because that's one of the things that helps us close the deal.
Yep.
The one thing I will say I've noticed with my business, we get a ton of bookings through our online form. Every single time we've ever added a cleaning service, like say we had things like the air conditioning vents, people just didn't really ask for them too often unless we were doing a deep cleaning. So we just added those, and it just increased the average ticket by like $8 for every job, because some people would click it and add it.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have to ask, we just added it on there. That's kind of the classic upsell. I think on our booking form right now, I probably have like 10 of those. I'm just going to look because I don't even know anymore.
We have some of those. So Ryan, we actually do hourly for the first job. I have two opinions on like whether you want to do flat rate or hourly for the first job. I think ongoingly, as long as it's not a big job or super custom, do flat rate. For the first job, the reason we do hourly is because many times the first job is the hardest to execute. So the more we could customize according to what they need, many times it helps us execute it. I could see both sides, but Ryan, you said something very important, which is the problem with hourly is there isn't a true upsell because you're just selling hours. I can't be like, based off your job, you need about 4 hours. Oh, do you want to pay extra for the fridge cleaning? Like, what are you talking about? Like that should be in the hours. I'm paying you for hours. So my upsell would be adding an extra half hour, but I would simply bake that into the price. It wouldn't be, do you want fries with that? It would be, I'm booking you for 4.5 hours because you want fridge cleaning, not a traditional upsell.
Right. And that can sometimes be easier to sell too when you break it into little pieces. So I do like the first cleaning is hourly is not a bad thing. And then after you get there, because you're basically almost doing a free, we have this like free quote. We're going to come out and give you a quote and, whatever. But this is just, hey, we're going to come out and we're going to do the cleaning and you're going to pay us for it. So you're kind of getting the benefits of having that, but you're having somebody pay you for it, which is almost a slightly better money model than we'll give you a free quote thing in a way.
A bit, yeah. It's probably similar, the same math as yours, because we still tell them the price up front. Like it's going to be $300, but we back math it to be, it's this many hours. That's how I calculated it, because sometimes it doesn't exactly line up depending on what they want.
Yeah.
All that to say, I think, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we're doing flat rate the same way. We just call it something different.
Exactly.
We just know on average, the first cleaning is going to take this long. This is what you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of different math.
I would say let's move on to menu upsells, classic upsells. From what we're discussing here, there's ways of doing it. I wouldn't say this is like a slam dunk, like no brainer. Oh my God, if you're a cleaning company, you have to have this classic upsell, because I could see it happening. I just don't see this being the main driver of the business. I think it adds incremental $8, maybe $20 if people actually buy certain things. It's just not the biggest needle mover, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, let me share my screen really quick, and I'll just show kind of what my upsells are. This is my booking form, so you can kind of see I'm logged in here, so ignore that. But it's all of these extras that we have. And every time we've ever added a new one, people bought it. Even if we didn't have it before, we weren't offering it, we just say, okay, hey, we'll do your doors. We'll do your so we had just blinds. We broke that out into dusting blinds and wet wiping blinds, which, created us, gave us some more opportunities for these upsells.
How much you charge
like
for
extra
blinds?
TLC.
Let's do dust blinds. How much does that add?
There's a so this adds, what are we doing, like $30 or so, a little 35, I think.
It's about half an hour-ish is what you're doing here.
Yeah, approximately. But each one of these things, and so you get some warnings with some of them and whatever, but every time we've added a new one, it increases the likelihood that somebody is going to buy it. And what we have to train our phone staff to do is just offer these. If they're just getting our basic, what we call a care cleaning, let's make sure that we do the classic upsell and just offer them, do you need baseboards or blinds? And almost everybody wants baseboards and blinds. Those are the most common. So just make that offer, ask if they want it, and
adjust accordingly. Yeah. Either if you're doing flat rate, you could simply add it like that, or if you're doing hourly like me, you increase the number of hours. It's effectively the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, and with the hourly too. So, because we do this other piece where if they don't get blinds or baseboards for the first cleaning, we actually give it to them for free.
I like that.
Through an email and a text message to kind of create that good experience. Because sort of the goal is to get them to book weekly, monthly, bi-weekly for years.
Yeah.
Those are the clients that are spending $50,000 with us and not $200. So we actually give this to them for free if they don't. And if they if they do have baseboards or blinds, then we'll offer them something else like the windows or, whatever, as a way to, kind of create that
Well, surprise and delight type
atmosphere of surprise and delight, but also get them used to these add-ons that they actually want them and kind of create that habit.
Yep.
So
Ryan, moving on, let's talk about menu upsells as well as anchor upsells. And you do both of these things, and I think I do both of these things as part of our general script. Can you explain individually what these are and then maybe how we implement it?
Yeah. So a menu upsell is sort of the prescriptive, here's the things that you want, this is why you want them.
Yep.
Right? And the anchor upsell is giving something really, really pricey and then a couple more options. So you essentially give, kind of the classic, story that Alex uses in the book is going to a tailor, trying on a suit, loving the fit of the suit, getting really excited about the suit. And then when the tailor walks away, he checks the tag and it's like a $20,000 suit. And he says, oh, I don't know if this is a suit for me. And the tailor, of course, knows that this isn't the suit for you. Most people aren't going to buy a $20,000 suit. So he comes and brings out a $1,500 suit. And then Alex feels like that $1,500 suit's a good deal now, but he was originally going in planning on spending $400.
Yep.
Right. But now he's feeling like $1,500, 3 times what he was going to spend is a good deal because he saw this $20,000. That's called a price anchor. So the idea with an anchor upsell is give people 3, always lead with the highest first and then the cheapest last, and people will usually land in the middle.
How would you whittle things off with a prescriptive sell? So let me give you a scenario here. So
sure.
Ryan, to summarize, I think these both work hand in hand. And the way I'd summarize these is more of sales tactics. Like Alex calls them upsells, or mostly calls them upsells, but I don't know, this is pretty much just sales. That's effectively what this is. So what this would be, an example would be an anchor upsell. Ryan calls me for cleaning and I say, based off what you told me, I'm going to give you the highest premium offer first. And that might be a $400 cleaning for a 1-bedroom home. Ryan, first question on that one. Do you have, or do you think it makes sense to have a premium offer that's more than what you guys have on your website? For example, hey, I'm going to give you this. It's going to be $500. This is an eco-friendly product one. This is a 300% satisfaction guarantee. Does it make sense to make up something which is the max premium one? Or in your opinion, not really?
Well, I don't like to make stuff up. You want it to be sort of consistent. So the thing with, talking to somebody on the phone and doing all that, people aren't going to go through everything on your website. They're not going to understand it in detail. Usually when people are calling, they're like, just do it for me. Mm-hmm. Right. So, what we like to do is talk to the client, figure out what they need, and the prescriptive upsell. So I'll give you both. I'll give you the anchor and then I'll give you the prescriptive. The way we do a menu upsell, or what I would call a prescriptive upsell, is you're giving them the list of what they need, and you can buy into that and get the ability to do that by crossing something off that they don't need. So one thing that we like to do is the inside of the oven. Most people who have a oven that's been purchased in the last 30 years, which is almost everybody, has a self-cleaning oven. If it's self-cleaning, we can't put chemicals in it. So this is just a natural sort of prescriptive upsell for us, where we say, okay, hey, you're getting your house cleaned for a move out. Most people need at least these 3 things, which is the inside of the refrigerator, the inside of the oven, and the baseboards. Do you know if you have a self-cleaning oven? They'll say, oh, I'm not sure. Let me go check that. They'll say, yeah, there's a self-clean button on here. I think it's self-cleaning. Say, okay, we're not going to do the self-clean oven for you. We're not going to do the oven for you because if we put chemicals in it, it'll ruin it. So we're going to leave that one off. And then we're going to give you inside of the fridge and the inside of the windows. And then they're more likely to buy into those because you're telling them not to buy something from you. So that's the prescriptive piece is, in Alex's example in the book, it's, here's these supplements you want to buy and, hey, you're not trying to gain a bunch of weight, right? You're not bulking right now. Okay. So we're going to cross that one off. And I think I would go with this protein and this creatine over here, right? So giving them 2, but taking one out of the equation and crossing it off for them buys trust that you're not trying to just sell them junk.
Yeah, I think that increases close rates. I agree with that one.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely think that does. Price anchoring is almost slightly. You can use these in conjunction. You could say, "Hey, our normal price is $400." They're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" You're like, "Oh, okay, hold on. Do you need the oven? No. Do you need this? No."
Mhm.
So you can combine the prescription upsell by
Yeah.
anchoring it and then doing it from there. If you start with the prescriptive upsell, Ryan, how do you handle price objections once you tell them the price after the prescription?
Well, so we don't really handle a lot of price objections. So one of the things we've actually taught the team to do is if there is a price objection, to just kind of move on from it.
Hmm.
Because when I'm pretty good at selling, I can sell almost anybody. And when I've had people, oh man, I just remember this one lady. This is the story I always tell. This is back in the day. We were a lot cheaper than we are now. So we would never clean for this cheap, but it was like $155 for this cleaning. And she was like, I only budgeted for 147. I was like, you know what? A couple
Sure.
bucks, fine.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you for $147. She became probably my worst client ever.
Still
And
remember
she
her.
just wanted like this like $7 off or whatever for some stupid reason. I gave it to her also for a stupid reason. And I knew in my head, I was like, I shouldn't do this. But she was like bartering with me. And I was just early on in my career. This is probably year one. And I just remember before I knew better, before I knew to not have my phone ring after 5 o'clock, she had called me at like 8 p.m. to complain about her cleaning. And like, we had like an accident with the cat where the cat had like gone to the bathroom on this beanbag chair. And I'm like trying to see if I can salvage this beanbag. I'm out of my patio, like pulling all the fluff out of it that's got the cat mess in it. And I'm just like, and she's calling me and I'm on the phone with her, just like dealing with this thing, pulling the stuff out of the beanbag, just trying to fix this stupid problem before I just threw the freaking thing away, which I should have just done from the get go. Um, and she's just complaining about something. I'm like, you know what, lady, like, I'm just going to cancel your appointment. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to work
Like,
with you
just take your money
anymore.
back. Go ahead.
And it was constant. She would constantly complain. She was the worst. So we try to be careful with people who are hypersensitive on price, typically have a higher expectation of what they want, and you can almost never meet them there. So if you do the selling process right, you shouldn't have a price objection.
Yeah. Well
Is
said.
kind of my thing. So these couple of things, the menu up, the classic upsell, menu upsell, and anchor, you can sort of combine all of those. So what I would usually do is first start with the menu upsell of, what do you need to get done? We're doing a move out cleaning. It's a pretty easy example for me. So I'm moving out. Did the landlord or the person buying the property give you a list of things they want clean? So if it's like an apartment they're moving out of, they'll have a list.
Hmm.
If they're selling it to somebody, like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, cool. Here's what we typically would advise you to get. These 3 add-ons. You're going to need at least the windows, the blinds, the inside of the oven, the inside of the fridge, inside of the cabinets. Do you need anything else? They'll say no. Okay, cool. And then we've got these kind of upsell things, these like sort of 5 items, right? We ask them about the oven. They say, don't need to clean the oven. It's self-cleaning. We're going to cross that off the list. And then I'll give them the price of basically every add-on included as my first anchor. And then I'll say, and I'll frame it like this. I'll say, I'm going to give you a couple prices here. Just kind of want to feel, what's going to work best for you. We've got this $500 cleaning that we can do. That's going to be full Monty, everything, nothing is left undone. Your house is basically going to look brand new. Not all houses need that. So depending on where you land, we could also do without, the inside of the cabinets, the inside of the oven, the inside of the fridge. If your fridge is in pretty good shape, we shouldn't be cleaning it. And they'll say, yeah, fridge is in pretty good shape. And that'll be like kind of the second price. And then I'll say, if you want just the bare minimum, where, hey, you're going to get a receipt from us that says we cleaned, but there's probably still going to be some stuff. Or if you just want to handle the fridge on your own or whatever, you can do it for this price. So we've got our base move out, all the add-ons move out, and kind of just the basic add-ons price. And I just present all 3 of those. And I'll give them what's included, the price, what's included, the price, what's included, the price, and then just summarize those 3 prices for them. So we can get you done for 500, 450 or 300, depending
Mm.
on what you need.
And I
And
think
they'll
it's important to
usually
have
pick the
that.
middle.
Yeah, most people pick the middle. I think it's important to have the high end one. Like the quote in the book
Mhm.
is the only thing worse than making $1,000 offer to a person with $100 budget is making $100 offer to someone with $1,000 budget. Some people
Yeah,
just have FU money. They're like, dude, I want the least hassle
they do
possible.
not
Just
care.
get it done. Here's $500. I don't care. This is
Yeah,
0.1% of my normal weekly salary, anyways. Just do it. Right. So you don't want to
yeah,
go with them with the middle offer to start with. Offer them the high one. And the benefit of that is at least at price anchors. So even though most people are going to freak out, you have down sales from there, which is a whole nother thing. But effectively, what
right.
Ryan is saying is you're willing things away with a menu prescription type of offer, which downsells them into something else.
Yeah. And so, when we're selling, I tell my salespeople, like, this should be like a 15-minute conversation. I am not trying to get them off the phone quick. I
Yes.
really want the client to buy in. So a couple of the other things, sort of this prescriptive piece, is I want to talk to them about when they want the cleaning pretty early on.
Mm,
So first we ask them where, because there's some places we just can't clean. So we want to knock them out if we can early, because we don't want to waste their time or ours if we can't drive out there because it's too far away. And then I like talking to them about when. And the
mm-hmm.
reason I like talking about when is because if they're pulling out their calendar and actually finding a date and a time that we both match up that we can go to, they're visually seeing themselves buying this stuff.
Yep.
Like they're putting it on their calendar mentally. So they're basically crossing this off that this is done. And I love doing that. I feel like that helps so much with that final sale. We talk to them about what they need, and that's where we kind of do the menu upsells. And then we anchor them with one really big price, the middle price, and then kind of the very bare basic minimum, and we usually tell them, we still guarantee the results, but you're not going to be getting the baseboards or the blinds and all this stuff. The house is going to look better, but if it hasn't been cleaned in 6 months, I'd suggest this one. So just
Yep.
kind of suggest one for them. And then the last thing that we do, so home services always win on those three things we mentioned before: speed, risk, and ease. If you can do it now, eliminate the risk that if they spend the money, they're going to get what they're asking for, and then make it easy for them, then you're going to win. So we kind of eliminate that risk after we give the price with our 200% happiness guarantee.
Which is
so what we will say is, and of course that price includes our 200% happiness guarantee, which means if you're not happy with the cleaning at all, just let us know. We'll come back and fix it. The actual 200% guarantee per the website is, if you're not happy, we'll do a re-cleaning for free. If you're still not happy, we'll give you all your money back. So that's first 100% is the second cleaning. Second 100% is your money back.
Yeah.
But it's eye-catching enough. Like most cleaning companies do that without really saying it.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want it? We'll come back and clean. But, we're really doing a big thing in just eliminating the risk.
Yep.
You spend $500 with us, you will either still have $500 in your bank account or you will have a clean house. You're doing one or the other because we have a guarantee.
Yep.
Right? And then the ease portion is, so speed, risk, ease. Speed is really hard in this industry because we're usually limited by the number of cleaners. We usually can't get out today.
Yep.
But ease is, we've got all the cleaning equipment. You can book online. You're booking right now on the phone. We're not going to come out and look at your property. We just trust in you,
Yep.
And if we can kind of establish all those things, talk to them about the date, walk them through what they need, do the sort of menu upsell of crossing off that oven for them, giving them a couple of those prices. So one of those prices is going to be one that they like. And then talk about that guarantee before we ask for the credit card. So here's your price. Talk about the guarantee. Can we get a credit card on file? Usually they're closed by then.
Yeah. I would almost call these two. So there's a classic upsell where you're actually upselling something new, menu upsell, as well as anchor upsell. Like, I almost don't want to call these upsells. This is table stakes for your sales script. Like, you got to be doing whatever Ryan just said, because this is like just your sales script. So we can call it an upsell, but really it's just a way to close more sales. That's effectively what this is. What I'm actually super interested to talk to you about is the rollover upsell. And I have some ideas on this one. So rollover upsell, the summary, it could be used in many ways. It could be with old customers, with complaints, whatever. Let's say Ryan books a cleaning. He's unhappy. I say, okay, hey, your job was $200. Tell you what, let me help you roll this over to the next 2 cleanings you have. That's a very simple rollover upsell. Another one would be to go to customers from 6 months ago and saying, hey, you paid $200 for cleaning. Call me back. Let me roll it over into something else for you. The concept in the book says roll it over into something more expensive, right? So ideally, the rollover credit would only be 25% of the whatever you're selling them next, which is the premium thing. So an example would be like if you're having a gym, hey, you paid for this supplement or you paid for this gym session. Do you want to roll it over to this supplement package? And you paid $100 for the session. The supplement package is $400, but I could just credit you. So you actually get $100 off. That's an example of a rollover type of upsell. I think this can be powerful when used effectively. The hard part is we have hard costs with cleaning. You know, half of your revenue goes away to the cleaners anyways, right? So there are hard costs with this. Ryan, I had a couple ideas for this I want to run by you though, because I actually think this can be powerful.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about this quite a lot, so I'm excited for this conversation.
So the biggest value in this business is not closing one-time sales. We know it's recurring. You have to get recurring customers. The thing is, at least what we're finding is, depending on where people are calling from, a lot of people aren't looking for recurring, or they're suspicious of it, or they don't want to commit. So they're like, hey, I'm going to book one-time service. We might even say, hey, dude, it's like 40% off if you book recurring starting the second cleaning. Do you want to do it? So no, I just want one time. That's pretty much it. So my entire process here has been, okay, the real money is in recurring. How do I get more customers to freaking book recurring? One idea would be a rollover upsell. So Ryan, play this out with me. Help me figure this out. Let's say someone books a one-time cleaning. I'm like, do you want recurring? They're like, I don't want to commit, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool, no problem. I'll call you after the cleaning check-in. I have a special surprise for you. Called them the next day after the cleaning. I could say something like, hey, you paid $200 for cleaning. Do you want your money back? They might say yes. I say, great. How about this? If you sign up for a biweekly package, I will roll over your $200 across the next 4 cleanings. I say 4 cleanings because Hormozi told me to make it 25% of the amount. So you effectively get $50 off your next 4 cleanings as long as you're on a recurring package. Hopefully that'll get them on the package. Another option would be get them to book another one-time cleaning if they're afraid of commitment, but I don't really know how to do a rollover with that. What's your opinion, Ryan? Like, what are your thoughts on that on a conceptual level? Does this make sense? Does this not make sense?
Yeah, because it's because we do something similar. So I want to first talk about, sort of your offer and what you're proposing. I do have a rollover offer that I just rolled out. So I want to talk about that a little bit. But to kind of touch on yours first, I like the idea of, hey, you spent $200 with us today. We're going to credit that towards a reoccurring if you want to sign up for reoccurring. I think it's the framing's a little odd, but I think the idea is there, which is I got $200 in your account. Do you want to spend it now or not?
Yes. How do you frame it without being complicated? I don't know. The simplest.
That's the challenge.
The simplest, like call it a rollover or credit, whatever you want, would be another one I was playing around with is many times people who are one-time customers, it's tough to get them to book recurring. What I found is there's usually people who want recurring. There's people who are kind of on the fence. You could get them across. And there's people who want one time. Selling people on one time to try to get them to recurring is harder than trying to convert the middle people to recurring. So this would really be for those people in the middle who you actually are considering recurring potentially, and I could get you across the finish line. Yeah. So I don't think this would work well for one-time customers. It might be even too complicated.
Yeah, it may be. So what we've been doing is just pitching our discounts. So if you are a one-time customer, when you sign up for reoccurring, the first cleaning of the series is always more expensive. So you might have a $300 cleaning for the first time, then it's a $200 cleaning every time after that. We just pitch them on, hey, we just cleaned your house. So for the next 30 days, you can get that discount applied. And we've got an email campaign that goes out. So for the first week, if you do a weekly cleaning, it's 40% off. So we're saying, hey, you can save 40% off of this price. And we actually have our little go high level calculate if it was a $400 cleaning, 40% off is going to be this much. And you can save this much as like a dollar sign. And it's in a week, it's gone. Most people aren't going to bite on a week because their house is already clean. They're not feeling the pain yet. At 2 weeks, we're talking to them about 30%. And at a month, we're talking about 15%, which is our discount. And that's a little bit more of an exploding offer. So
it goes down in value.
It goes down in value the longer you wait. And the emails that we're sending are, you've got 14 days left to grab this offer. Otherwise, you're paying the full price. And
Right.
then we
Why can't
do
I just
add
book it and
on.
then just cancel though? So like, oh, cool, I'll get 40% off, and I'm still not really recurring. I'm just going to cancel after the next one.
I mean, it would be the same for us though. It'd just be like somebody having two reoccurrings,
That's a good
right?
point.
So the house is already clean in theory. It's going to be easier for us to go back. I mean, there's some customers that wasn't true for, but 99% of the time, it's just going to be an easier clean anyway. So we're going to only be there for 2 hours instead of 4.
So it's kind
So
of a
that's really what the
framing
discount's
thing.
for.
It's effectively the same. Like you were calling
Yeah,
it rollover, which psychologically is like you're losing something rather than me giving you a discount, which oftentimes is a
right.
bigger thing of like, so one framing of that, by the way, I like Ryan, what you're saying. Um, the way I might even change it, because I'm very slow and I like simplicity, is it's an exploding
Mm.
offer. It's 40% off. There's no decreasing value ladder. It's just this is the amount you have off, and then it's an exploding offer. You have to redeem it within 14 days. I like the idea of scaling it down, saying now it's less, now it's less. Um,
Yeah.
if you could execute that in an organized way, I think it's better.
I mean, it's just our normal offers. So if you're a recurring service, your second service on weekly is 40% off. Every week you're getting 40% off if you're getting a cleaning every week. And that's just because the house is going to be really clean. There's not a lot of time for dust to build up
I
and
see. So
things.
it's your
So we're
normal.
just we're basically just educating on what our normal discounts are.
Does
But we frame it like it's an offer that they're going to lose, which they do, because if we're not going to give you the monthly discount after 5 weeks, we're just not.
does it make
You know.
sense to? This is just packaging now. A rollover
Mm-hmm.
credit's effectively saying, "Hey, you paid this amount for the first cleaning. How about I give you back this amount, and I'll credit this on your next cleaning?" Psychologically, is that better than, "Hey, you could still secure your 40% discount"?
Yeah, rollover credits are really, really nice. I think it would be. And I will say that we do have one. So after 30 days, we do offer a rollover credit.
How does that
Um,
work?
and what the rollover credit is, so they're not getting the discount anymore. But once they kind of get out of all of our funnels and we've tried our discounts and offers and things, they end up in a funnel that is our rollover credit offer. And what that is it's essentially a coupon that's $150 of value, but it's $50 off the next 3 cleanings. So we're trying to win back the people that maybe were a little price sensitive, and they're just getting that $50 off. Most of these cleanings we're going to make about $120 on,
Do they have to
because
sign
we're
up for a
not
recurring
paying for
package?
marketing. Yeah, so you have to sign up for reoccurring. We'll apply this coupon for you manually, and that'll just take $50 off the next 3.
Why not give that to them instead of the 30-day cycle?
That's just kind of our normal flow. I mean, we could try. To be honest with you, because I haven't tried it yet.
We'll
We're
see.
just
Yeah,
experimenting with all this
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So we could do that. It might be better, but I think we just figured just get them in the habit of becoming reoccurring. So we're just trying to give away a little bit less and keep it simpler. So this is just, hey, you want to sign up for reoccurring?
you
We'll
still got time.
honor the reoccurring price, which is something that we were doing since we've started the company, but we're just advertising it more now
One thing I was
to
experimenting
those
with,
people.
which I found a little bit hard to explain to customers, so I dropped it, was your first cleaning was 300. If you're on a recurring package, it would be 160. So you get $140 off. If you
Mm-hmm.
commit to 6 cleanings, or let's say 3 cleanings, I will credit you. So I will give you the $140 off your first cleaning. So you get your first deep cleaning for the normal price, as long as you commit to at least 3 cleanings, which is
Yeah,
effectively rollover credit. That's kind of what it is. It's just different packaging.
sure.
Um,
But you said you were having trouble selling it.
Having trouble explaining it to people. So what I'm trying to get is
Yeah,
there's people want recurring, not worried about them. There's people want one time, they're not going to buy recurring. There's a middle ground of people who call who are like, if we said the right things, I could get you on the recurring plan. And all
right.
I need to do is I know I need to get you past 3 cleanings, because at that point it becomes a little bit more habit. And I don't consider anyone a real recurring until they're done with 3 recurring cleanings. If you have
Mm-hmm.
2, it's not real recurring. You have to have 3
Yeah,
completed cleanings. So the question then is, how do I get you to 3 cleanings? One idea would be like rollover credits, which I'm not exactly sure how to do. Um, it's just there's different packaging. Do I say I will credit your first cleaning across 3 cleanings? Do I just say, hey, quick, you could get your 40% off if you sign up quickly. I'm trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
get them to 3 cleanings with a certain offer.
Yeah, so I think your offer that you mentioned works in a way, and I do know a company that's doing very very well that's using it. But what she's doing in particular, and I got to give some credit, this is Trish Lake of TLC Cleaners in Minnesota. Uh, Her offer is, so she does a deep cleaning, but her deep cleanings are like legendary. They're like $1,000.
Mm,
So she has this really high value deep cleaning. And what she'll do is she'll give you that reoccurring price and honor that for like 6 months if you sign up for, or if you sign a contract. So she docu-signs a contract, they sign it, they're getting $1,000 cleaning for like $200, but now they have to be there for 6 months, whether that's monthly or biweekly or whatever. And if they want to get out of the contract, they just have to pay the difference for the deep cleaning cost.
it's $800
So if it was
more
a
or something.
so they got to pay $800, which I think is a very fair deal. I think most humans would think that that's fair, and now they're kind of mentally, agreeing to be around for 6 months, and now they're over that 3 cleaning, you know, um, barrier, which for biweekly could be 6 weeks, it could be 3 months for monthly. But that's what she's doing, and it seems to be working really, really well for her.
That's
The
effectively a rollover upsell, except you're not exactly you're not saying, hey, the $800, I'm spreading that across the next cleanings, which is kind of what
Mhm.
he's saying here, but it's effectively locking
Yep.
them to a contract, which I care about more.
Yeah.
But you could kind of do the same. You could sell them on the first cleaning for 1,000 and say, hey, for your next X cleanings, for your next 10 cleanings, I'll give you $80 off each of them so you can
Yeah.
get back your money. That's an idea.
Yeah. So Trisha's offer is literally you're getting $800 off if you sign this contract. It's very similar to what Mary Maids does. They do something. They also have very, very expensive first time cleanings because they're just trying to lock you into a contract where you get a better rate. I mean, you got to be able to deliver after the contract, and I think that's where people like Mary Maids have trouble. But that's a classic one that works really, really well. Uh, I will say what I just rolled out and what I'm doing right now is we're giving that free upsell or the free upgrade
Mm-hmm.
before the first cleaning as like a nice thank you. So it's either like baseboards or blinds or whatever. It costs us basically next to nothing to do it for free because we're already there. And the cost really associated is just getting somebody in a car and getting them to the house, right?
Yeah.
So if I could add the baseboard, it's going to cost me an extra $5, right? But it's like a good value to the client. And then before the third cleaning, or right after the third cleaning, because people typically wait till right before that fourth cleaning to cancel, is we give them another one of these, like free upgrades. And then we're trying to push free deep cleaning upgrades every 6 months. So you just get a free deep cleaning upgrade, and it's something that we really should be doing to keep their home feeling clean. Is just tackling all the baseboards and blinds and things like that every 6 months. Now we're just sending them an email saying, "Hey, do you want baseboards or blinds included for free on this next one? We got you on it. Just reply with which one you want to this email."
Keeps them happy. Ryan, how would
Keeps
you
them happy,
do?
keeps them engaged.
So that's recurring, and I think the holy grail is what offer can you make to get more recurring? I don't care if you don't lose money on the first job; it doesn't matter as long as you quote unquote upsell them into a recurring package. But a lot of customers are just one-time customers, meaning they want one time, they're afraid of commitment, whatever. How do you upsell a customer on a second cleaning? And here's what I mean. The whole concept of what he's going over here is how do you make more money from one sale by selling them more? The truth is in this industry, the only thing you can really upsell, like, yeah, you could do upselling like eco-friendly products, but the real thing they need next after you sell them one thing is a second cleaning, right?
Yeah.
Like there isn't like an upsell like, oh, now you need a helmet. It doesn't exactly exist in the cleaning world. It's just you need another cleaning next time this happens. But they're not at like once you clean their home, there's no additional problem to present to upsell them on something else because they just had their home cleaned. So the question is, if you have a one-time customer who books a job, how do I upsell them on a second cleaning? What's the offer? How would you do it? What are some ideas here?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying right now is that same thing I was doing before, which is, hey, if you book another cleaning, your second cleaning this week, I'll give it to you for 40% off. That one we're not going to get a lot of upticks on, and we've only been testing this for a couple of weeks, so I can report back later how it's going. But we're just trying to close that gap by texting and emailing and then calling. So we call them like every couple of days for like a week, just to check in and see if they want to take us up on it.
Yep.
Because you sort of want to hit this like ask at the moment when they're the happiest. So same time you ask for a review, you really want to be asking for, do you want to get us to come out again?
It's interesting conversation,
if some people,
because Hormozi says the opposite, but I don't know if I agree with that. Sell to someone when they're at the highest pain point, right? The concept is someone's in pain and someone's legs broken. They don't care how much they're going to spend to fix my freaking leg. But selling someone on pills to strengthen their bones, they're like, like I don't need it. I don't want broken bones, right? It's harder. I don't know if that's really. I've tried, Ryan, of like, hey, you're in pain, you need cleaning. I'm going to sell you 3 cleanings because that's really the only thing to sell them. Everyone's like, no, like what? I'm not going to buy 3 cleanings up front. Like, just give me this one cleaning. That's typically what I found.
Everybody wants to test it out. So, I mean, there's a couple things. I think there's maybe a back door I want to come in on here, but I feel like asking when they're happiest with the cleaning, that has to be a little bit of a leaning on, we can keep it looking like this all the time, or it can feel like this all the time. And with that big discount that we give, we've got like 30% off. So if they just spent $300 on a cleaning, say, hey, if you have us back in 2 weeks, we can grandfather you into this 30% discount. So you're only paying $150, and we will basically have your house feeling like this all the time. I think that's a good time to ask, is right when they're the happiest, but the second best time is when it's starting to get dusty again and they're starting to feel it again.
Yep.
That's what I'm leaning on right now. So we've got a couple different things that we're doing, mostly that discount and then the rollover credit after, 30 days or so. And then after that, we just kind of offer them coupons like once a month, not once a month, just once a month during our kind of slow times, and that seems to work okay.
Ryan, your discounts are monthly 15% off, weekly, biweekly 40%
off? So 15, 30, 40. So 15% for monthly, 30% for biweekly, and 40% for weekly. So weekly is very aggressive. I think we've only got like 3 or 4 people doing weekly, but we've got like hundreds of people doing biweekly and monthly. Biweekly seems to be the most popular with that 30% discount. It's a good enough deal that, we kind of wanted to push people one direction. So you sort of make whatever that middle price is as close to the higher price as you can, with it still making sense.
Yeah, I think we're going to change it a little bit. So we do one-time cleaning, no discount, obviously. And then I believe we do 35 and 45% off monthly and biweekly. So we give pretty steep discount because I want to get them on biweekly. What I am learning here, which I agree with, is I'd rather make the monthly like 10% off. When they look at weekly, they're like, or biweekly, they're like, dude, I might as well get biweekly because I get 2, and it's slightly more expensive than a monthly, but it's effectively the same. Let me just get the 2 per month.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So I think I might tweak that a little bit.
Yeah. So you can kind of anchor which decision you want people to make. So it's just the same thing they do with popcorn at the movie theater. You'll look at the small is going to be like $4, and the large mega tub of, bathtub full of popcorn is going to be like $5. And then the middle one is like $4.50. And it's just because they want you to do the math of, for an extra 50 cents, I might as well just spend the 50 cents and get the biggest bathtub full of popcorn I can.
I think there's a way of doing that more effectively with the biweekly of what we could do, which is like, it's a no brainer. It's freaking half the price. You get double the cleanings.
Right.
Like, there's something in there that I think I got to tweak, which I like.
Yeah, no, I think it's a pricing play to really make it worth it for people. And I think that's probably where, sales have been hurting for a lot of people. Is I think we all got very expensive when things were very competitive in terms of, we had a lot of customers and not enough cleaners to fulfill on them. Now the economy is a little bit different now. So I think there's probably some more pricing play that we have to lean into. But I think the other piece of this that we're not really talking about when it comes to upsells and getting reoccurrings and all that is we really have to target our marketing towards the people that need this regularly. Because like you said, the people that get one times are sometimes just the one time people.
Yep.
They're I need a receipt so I can get my renter's deposit back, and the company's not going to give me my money back unless I have a receipt from somebody. So I'm just paying you. Or it's, you know, I don't want to think about this. I'm too busy. I'd rather be at the gym or playing pickleball than, cleaning my house. So just come and do this. I don't have to do it on the weekends. And those people are going to always want to get a reoccurring cleaning. So what I've been working on is trying to tailor my marketing more towards those humans, because they just want this, instead of trying to get the people that don't want it to try to find their way to it.
I agree. I 100% agree. Same as what I was saying before, which is if it's a one-time customer, they're kind of a one-time customer. Like a lot of people, it's really freaking hard to convince someone to upsell into recurring. They're either a recurring type of customer or they're not, is what I found. And the only way you could really do that is with proper targeting for marketing. So if your leads are coming from LSA, guess what? You can't really target. If it's coming from SEO, the only way you could target is by making a lot of your branding focus on recurring. But even then, you're going to get, if you're top ranked, you're going to get all these calls from anyone.
Sure.
So really it's through, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, it's going to be through paid ads with hyper targeting is the only way to actually accomplish that.
Yeah. Paid ads, hyper targeting, you're looking at meta ads, for Facebook, Instagram, that are good and compelling and speaking to these pain points of, I don't have free time. I want my free time back. I want to be able to spend time reading or painting and not cleaning my house. And really speaking directly to those pain points. Because the other piece that I see a lot of home cleaning businesses doing is when they're running meta ads or Facebook ads, they're like, look at my cleaners. Here they are cleaning. Do you want cleaning? Instead of, what could you be doing instead of cleaning your house?
Yep.
So I'm pretty early in on this kind of marketing journey, and we got the videos developed. We're just kind of working on getting the ads running right now. But that I think is probably going to be a more effective strategy than trying to figure out how to, voodoo magic the one times into reoccurrings. Like you said, there's always going to be the 10% that are just always going to buy your biggest package no matter what, and 10% that just want the smallest thing. They won't get anything in between. But most people are going to be in that 80% gap where they could be convinced one way or another. So, that's the other piece of it, is how do we get more of those 80% that are leaning this way already?
Exactly. So Ryan, to round it up, summarizing the offers here for the upsell section, I'll give you my rankings of what I think would be most effective for my business and my thoughts. Let me know if you agree and how you would do it. I'd actually say the rollover offer, maybe not exactly how Hormozi pitched it, but some sort of thing where if you commit to a longer cleaning program, I will then credit something towards you. However you want to package it, don't really care. But the concept is try to get them on a recurring plan. That's what we care about. So I actually feel the rollover offer in a different packaging is probably going to be the most effective one. After that, I'd probably say menu and anchor are kind of table stakes. You have to have this. I almost don't even consider this an upsell. This is just your sales script. So it is important, but this isn't mind blowing. This is what you do. Lastly, classic upsell, my opinion is in the cleaning industry, there are some classic upsells where you could upsell them on maybe a fridge cleaning and stuff, but I'm not fully convinced that's a huge needle mover compared to something like how do you create an offer to roll over them so they actually commit to recurring or book a second cleaning. I think that's probably more valuable rather than fiddling around with a classic upsell. My biggest takeaway as well is learning from you, price anchoring in terms of I think I'm going to make my monthly discounts 10%, and I might make my biweeklies 50%. So it's a no freaking brainer to sign up for biweekly. I think that's a pretty good takeaway of this as well.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think the anchoring is really, really powerful, and not a lot of people do it in the cleaning industry. You get a quote from somebody and they're like $150, and that's it. But give people the options. Give them a $500, a $300, and a $150 or whatever. Find the one that makes the most sense, and give them a couple options. And I think the more that we're talking about it, the thing that I've really kind of stuck in my brain is the rollover upsell of, we will upgrade this care cleaning, basic cleaning package to our biggest deep cleaning package for the price of a reoccurring if you sign up for 6 months. 6-month commitment feels small enough that like, oh, I could pay $200 for 6 months. That's not a very big commitment. And then, oh, if I want to get out of the package, I just have to pay for that first cleaning, I think is also a very low risk, safe bet for customers, enough that they would commit to the 6 months. And then once they're through the 6 months, then they're not on a contract. We're just reoccurring. You opt out whenever you want. And they most likely won't, because at that point, we're past that sort of 66-day mark that you need to form a new habit.
Do you think 6 months is too much?
I don't know. I mean, you could probably do 3. Yeah.
Depends how much a discount you're giving me. If it's $1,000 to $200, like, yeah. But if you're like $500 to $200, I'm not sure if I'd commit to 6 months for $300.
Yeah. I think that's why you got to set up the deep cleaning or whatever this offer is as like $1,000 thing that they're getting for like $200.
Yeah.
And then all you have to do is pay the difference, but you still got the value from that thing.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, that said, I've also heard from a couple of the people that I know that are doing this that it's like really hard to collect on that if they want to cancel. You just kind of have to let them out of it.
Yeah,
they're mad. You got to let them out of it. It's not going to work.
First job anymore. In that way, maybe it's better to not charge them a discounted rate for the first one, but say, hey, I was normally going to charge you $500. The recurring cleaning's $200. If you sign up for this program, I'm actually going to credit $100 per cleaning for your next 3 cleanings. So that way, it's like you've collected the money in case they happen to throw a fit in one out of the contract. Maybe that's an effective use of the rollover strategy as opposed to giving them a discount on the first one.
Yeah. I like yours, but the trick is how do you explain it to people?
I know,
because people don't get this stuff. Yeah, I was doing an avatar survey, and they're like, "What are you doing with all this information?" I'm like, "I'm going to use it for marketing." They're like, "Are you trying to sell my data?" I'm like, "No, well, to myself.
Yeah,
I just want to
learn
know who you are." Trying to learn about you. Like, they didn't understand the concept of like knowing how much money their household made would be important for marketing. They just thought I was like trying to like get one over on them. Like people don't get these concepts. You really got to break things down into just the easiest possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it has to come out sort of naturally in the conversation. I think that's the other piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, this is great, Ryan. Learned a bunch over here. I think we've clarified the upsell section, so this is great.
Well, I know I feel at least 5% smarter, but that's always the case when I'm watching your YouTube channel and talking to you.
Oh, yes, man. Cool. All right, Ryan. Thanks so much. And for everyone watching,
Neil, good talking to you.
For more of this kind of stuff.
Like and subscribe.